Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Pathfinder Kingmaker. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're supposed to join me today as I learn we'll memorize one spell after we sleep. We have a Summon Nature's Ally. Summons a natural might. A natural might, that is interesting. I don't want it. Long Strider, plus 10 foot and oh, that's nice. Hurricane Bow. Any arrow fired from a bow or crossbow you are carrying when the spell is cast deals damage, as if one size larger than it actually is. For instance, an arrow fired from a medium longbow normally deals 1d8, but it would instead deal 2d6, which is probably 1d8 is the average of 4, but it's distributed. 2d6 is an average of 8, and it is better because it's more versatile. So it's basically almost double damage. Even though it's not quite. But I know it's a little bit weird, but I'm probably going to go with that because that sounds good. We have Acid Maw. Is that an AoE? No. What? Wait a minute. Was it? You're an animal companion? I don't have an animal companion. I want one, but I don't have one. I mean, I do. Sad Jumper, but that doesn't count. Do I have an animal companion? I don't. Right? No. Yeah, I know. Okay, I do have this, which is good. And also I need this over there. Good. Okay, let's go inside. Pressing Q does that, and I was doing that because I think it's the save key, but it's not. So, hello, Gaston Garrus, Anoriel 8 Eyes. That's exactly what I was looking for. Agari is not here, though, and that kind of is sad. Svetlana? Good day to you. Do you need anything? I'd be happy to help. Well, no, I don't need anything for right now. Linzi, how are you feeling? What are you doing? Why are you going over there if I clicked over here? How are you feeling, Linzi? Feeling better? Still very injured? How should I put this? Oh, I know. Oh, she's writing. Yes. Hi. Oh, so, Linzi, we're gonna have a chat, aren't we? Tell me about yourself. Oh, what do you want to know? Where are you from? I'm from all over. I was actually born in Galt, in such a tiny village that it's not even on the maps. If it weren't for my teacher, I'd still be living there, milking goats, weeding turnips, swiveling homebrew, having babies, and using books only as kindling. And who was your teacher? He's a true saint, she says. He was once an important person in the capital, at the search of Shelin, but he got in trouble with the authorities and went on to a self-imposed exile, to the tiniest, most godforsaken, priestless village he could find, the one where I was born. He wanted to open a school, but the villagers wouldn't let him. You can heal us all you like, but no putting any ideas into our children's heads. It'll only distract them from their work, they said. But he did teach me on the sly. He taught me how to read, how to write. He gave me books, poems, legends. He was the one who told me about the Archknights of Avistan. And when I told him I was going on a journey, he gave me a magic ring so that Shelin would protect me from harm. I haven't seen him since I ran away from home. I hope he's alright. I ask Shelin every day to grant him a long life and new students. I liked the first time I read this. I think it was written in a different way, or maybe I like what I enjoyed the first time. Now I know what I'm looking at, so I'm not gonna enjoy it the same way. But the first time I read it, I liked it because she's asking for new students. He's a teacher, so yeah, it's cool. But this time around just doesn't have the same effect, and I don't know if they rewrote this. Anyway, Archknights of Avistan, who are they? Oh, you haven't heard of them? How can you be a heroine without knowing one of the most epic stories in the history of stories? I won't spoil anything. You should just read about them yourself. Every single chapter. Their adventures are what gave me the idea of going on a heroic quest and writing about it to begin with. And now look at me. Here I am on a heroic quest. Indeed. How did you become a bard? And also, she didn't give me any book about reading them, so yeah. How did you become a bard? When I realized that there was nothing for me at home besides more radish patches, I decided to run away. A traveling book peddler, Dassie the Quill, happened across our village. Well, I stuck to her like a burr and wouldn't let go until she agreed to take me as an apprentice. Together we traveled everywhere, to Brevoy, and Taldor, and even Ustalhav. And then I found out about the Academy of Grand Arts in Pitax, and I thought, well, I love reading stories, so I can surely learn to write them too. I enrolled on my first try, and they even gave me a scholarship. Then they expected me, but they expelled me, she says. Not expected me, that laugh would be weird with the expected. They expelled me, but that's okay. They'd already taught me all the important stuff, and now with Shellen's help, I can manage on my own. So you worship Shellen? Yeah. Well, not to offend the other gods, but she's the most important of them all. All the other gods guard the world as it is, but only the eternal Rose, the goddess of beauty, calls us to the world as it should be. Why are your clothes so messy? I can't say I noticed that. Linzi waves her hands carelessly. Forget it. I can't waste money on looks. I'd rather buy books instead. In 100 years, when people are reading my works, they aren't going to ask whether the author had holes in her sleeves. Nope, they are not. So you come from Pitax. Tell me about it. Oh, I love Pitax, even though they kicked me out. A joyful place. So what is life like in there? Actually, Pitax has always been one huge nest of thieves. Bandits, river pirates, smugglers, fences, card sharps. It's always been home to the likes of them. But that was before Irovetti became king. With him, a whole different life began there. Irovetti always wanted to make history, but not as another bandit with a crown, though that's exactly what he is. He wanted to be glorified through the centuries as a great patron of the arts. So he built the Academy of Grand Arts and spent lots of gold to assemble the best artists, poets, and musicians. Of course, the very best ones refused to go, but he got what he wanted in a way. If Pitax was once just a booze barn for thieves, now it's a cabaret. So what do you think of King Irovetti? He won his crown in a game of cards, which says as much about Pitax as it does about him. He's fiendishly clever. Some cheats I know told me that from the moment he appeared, he started pulling off such schemes that the old city masters just scratched their heads. With him in charge, gold flooded into Pitax, and also he's incredibly, unimaginably, fantastically decadent and conceited. Getting drunk with whores at the pub, that's not Lord Irovetti's style. Oh no, he aims higher, dressing up like a male Calistria with a golden codpiece and holding a 3-week orgy with dancing on the rooftops, parades, public executions, and a contest for the best ode to the great unrivaled king. That's more like it. He also likes singing, and he ordered his guards to make the citizens gather for his shows. May Shelley have mercy on his listeners. Okay, so tell me about the academy you studied at. You know, jokes aside, I'm thankful to Irovetti for building it. He has no taste, though. At all. Whatsoever. He likes his arts loud, bright, grandiose, and most importantly, glorifying his royal highness. He kicked out the best charcoal artist because he didn't wish to spend money on gray scribbles. He sacked a masterful flute player from Tianjia for playing too quietly, and instead ordered them to open a kettle drum class. He even ordered the academy to expel me. And for what? An innocent limerick? Would you like to go back to the academy and finish your studies? I'd like to return, but on one condition. If they threw out 3/4 of the professors who teach there now and returned all the ones they banished. If you ask me, I'm proud to have been expelled. If my art was to Irovetti's liking, then I would have reason to be ashamed. As long as mediocre lickspittles sit at the academy, and those with real talent beg on the streets of Pitax, I'll not cross the threshold of that place. That definitely puts a context on the wall. They taught me all the important stuff anyway, that she said before. So tell me about the book you're writing. Oh, what is there to tell? You've seen some of my rough drafts already, haven't you? It's a book about you and your adventures. I'm writing the whole truth just as it happened. Well, the whole artistic truth. You know, no glory, no story. Why are you writing it? What's the point? When I was at the academy, Eobald the Insightful began his literature course with the question, what is a person? And he answered, a person is a storytelling animal. Our world does not consist of things. All these woods, seas, and cities, it consists of stories about those things. And I guess you could say as well that woods, seas, and cities themselves are stories. Because, well, let's not go too far into that rabbit hole because we'll not stop. The stories, she says, the stories we tell ourselves and to each other. Just think about it. Centuries will pass and there will be no me and no you. All your subjects will be long gone, but you and I will live in people's memories and influence their deeds thanks to this very book. No offense, but your command of language is not that good. It is. I'm not going to say that. I really like how she writes. Your book is full of inconsistencies, though. Well, Yeah, I can admit that. Sometimes one has to be to bend a few details for the sake of dramatic effect. Actually, that's not what inconsistencies mean. If you bend them all in the right way, they don't get inconsistent. They're not congruous with the... Well, actually, congruency and consistency are very similar in meaning. What I mean is they're not reflective of reality, which is a different thing altogether. And I think that's what that line was supposed to say. Anyway, it's called Poetic Truth. I write about everything as if I saw it with my own eyes, even parts of the adventures that I wasn't around for. But I do always carefully question everyone who was with you at the time. Think of it as a general picture. In the end, you're the heroine of this book, and I'm just the storyteller. Yeah, and you're just sort of starting with a preconceived notion, and that's where the poetic truth needs to go in. So, what kind of character am I? And she says, in books, everything is simple. These are the heroes, and those are the villains. In life, of course, it's completely different. You have to make difficult decisions, and I don't always agree with you, but that's what makes you a complex, multifaceted character. You are a force of nature, wild and unpredictable. You're full of surprises. I doubt I could make up a protagonist like you, even if I tried hard. Tried very hard, she says. So how do you feel about me reading your work in progress? Well, these are only drafts, but of course, you're welcome to read them. Just keep in mind that even if you don't like what I write about, I won't change a single letter, so don't even ask. Of course, it's a book about you, but it's my book, understood? And the small writer's eyes glow rebelliously. No, there's a lot of lines right here. Let's see, write whatever you wish. But I shall decide if your book is allowed on my hands. That's, well, yeah, she's not gonna force her book onto your hands. I don't know what that line is supposed to be. I'll be remembered for my deeds, not your book. Actually, the book will remember you for your deeds. So, technically, yes, both. I'd rather not... I have no interest in censorship. Well, any of these lines is going to be a sort of censorship because it's you're influencing something, so yeah. Any stories about me are welcome, as long as they're interesting. I'd rather have a say in my own... Nah. I like this, but I'm not going to go with that. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't... None of these fit my character. I bet they are all... I bet they're all, alignment-oriented. And there's a chaotic neutral in here, and I just don't see it as a chaotic neutral. So, which one is the closest one to what my character is? This one. It's weird, but yeah. Write whatever you wish, it's your right. But I don't need to read it, which I believe is what that line is supposed to say. Huh, how wonderful. No, yes, she says how wonderful. Seriously, do it. Ban my book from my... No, see, that's not what I said. Oh, that is what I said. I read that wrong. Ah, well, I'll stick with that though. That's a better... Yeah, I just read that wrong. And yeah, because I don't have lens right now. So I don't, yeah, that's why I wasn't expecting lens instead of hands. So I read that wrong, that's okay. But that's also probably the best line. That's the line I wanted to go with, yes. So it's chaotic, it's definitely chaotic neutral, I would say. Or I think it is. I guess we could look at our, it doesn't say over here because I didn't change the options yet. But yeah, it fortunately is the line I would like to say as well. How wonderful. Oh, she's being sarcastic. You know that sarcasm doesn't translate very well, Lindsay? So, how wonderful. Seriously, do it. Ban my book from your lands. Can you imagine how much the sales would grow everywhere else? No, we don't have the internet, Lindsay. We don't have the internet. And Shellin is my witness. If there's higher honor for a writer than the author of a popular book, it's to author a forbidden book. Yes, apart from you being burned as a witch, that is, yeah. I'm sure she wouldn't mind that, though. We are talking, after all, about this setting, not a setting with internet. And also, to be honest, in the set of internet, you might also get killed. Even if you don't write books that are forbidden. But it depends on the country that you live in. So, yeah, let's talk about something else. Yeah. Antagonizing her a little bit, I think it's good. She did, after all, choose not to come with us. But I definitely liked that. I'm not happy that I chose that line without reading it properly, of course, but I'm happy that that was the line that I would have gone with if I had read it properly. So, tell me about your friendship with Tessie the Quill. Tessie the Quill. Well, what's there to say? The book woke my urge to travel, but it was only thanks to Tessie that I managed to really get out of my village. Oh yeah, Tessie the Quill, the traveler that she got along with. At first, Tessie tried in vain to get rid of me, but later, when I told her I was staying in Pitax, she even shed a tear. I wonder where she is now. So what's the deal with the ring you always wear on your finger? Ah, this. And she holds her arm for you to get a clear view of the ring. It was a gift to me from my first teacher. It's magical, imbued by the powers of Shelley, no less. And when I get myself in trouble, it transports me to a safe spot. So, please don't be angry with me if I suddenly disappear from a fight. I'll wait for you here, I promise. Wait a minute, you're gonna... Okay. I wonder if it's because she doesn't die. And if she dies, she disappears. Yeah. Probably is the case. So, yeah, I have to go. Just don't leave without me. Of course, I could just write whatever you tell me, but if I wanted to stay cooped up in a dusty room, I'd still be sleeping through lectures at the academy. Yeah. Yeah, and you shouldn't go and check that wall being burned as a witch thing. So, I need to talk to Keston over here. Hey, Keston. Before you stands a heavy-set man with grim, determined features. His weathered face is crossed by several scars, and we met him already. Keston, I failed to capture Tartusio alive. Also afraid to bring him to you, but don't ask anything about that, because obviously the game didn't let me, and I wanted to, because I thought I was going to bring his body. And he also was resurrected, but don't ask that, because I don't know that, but even though the game told me that. That's the thing.
Well, this is not the best outcome, but I think it will be good enough for Jamandi. Take this as a reward for your help. I'll send word to Reskov and let them consider how they might return the favor. Once again, I thank you for your help. I'll remain here until my men recover from their wounds. Meanwhile, we'll help guard the trading post and fight off any bandits should they return. Good luck in all your plans and endeavors.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'll see you later. I was gonna say, what plans and endeavors to take the Stag King on? Turned out to be a Pitax spy. I know. Did that get completed? Oh, that's a new quest. It did get completed. A bitter rival. Nice. Love it. Okay, so we have that, and kill the Stag Lord. That's definitely what I need. Emery learned about the bounty on the Tusk. Oh, it's a companion quest. Oh, I didn't get that. Yeah. Wait a minute. There's 2 quests? Yeah. Okay. Let's go upstairs. Let's sleep. I might want to buy rations. But I do want to hunt as well. It depends on the price of the rations. That's locked. Oh. That's never gonna open. Oh, that's a shame. That is a shame, because I can't... Unless I change my characters. I might be able to not have Gilladel here if I change their order. Not really sure. Anyway, we got a lot of things in here. Or a lot of things we can put in here. I'm gonna keep them with me, a lot of these. If not all of them. There's one thing that's pretty heavy. It's that. Oh, it's not that heavy. It's just 1 pound. But it was a... No, it's this. Yeah, I don't know if that is necessary. Oh, it's one of these. Okay. And we got port, a bunch of it. Yeah, those are all for... Oh, that kitty doesn't know what to do. Or maybe he's afraid of me. Okay, let's sleep. And see what happens. I don't know if it say or if it... It does. It gives me all the things. I have 2 hurricane bows. It's a bug, basically. Because I had added the hurricane bow already. And look at how fast I am. Lovely. Let's get going. I'll also talk with everybody else. And Oriel. I want to know more about your Paladin Society, or Pathfinder Society. What is the purpose of the society? Oh, it's a school of adventurers. We search for those who are eager to test their skills, and we educate them and give them ideas about where on Golarion they might seek their fortune. They look for forgotten knowledge, secrets, and lost artifacts. They are explorers and pathfinders. We're sort of a mutual assistant club for adventure lovers. We exchange experience, share knowledge, and keep careful records in case it proves useful to future expeditions. And also, we publish books for thrill seekers and bored urban teenagers from wealthy families. Oh, yes, teenagers, because that is definitely a word. It's a commentary. I realize that it's not canonical, or it might be canonical, but it is. Teenager, this age is not seen in human history until I think like last 100 years. So yeah, it's a little bit anachronistic. Of course, it can still work. I'm not really sure it would though. In wealthy families, there's a reason why it is anachronistic. There's a reason why we didn't have teenagers until very late. Because wealthy families, I mean, you reach the age of 14 as a man. I'm talking historically, of course, and even as a woman in some cases. And that definitely were those cases. But you reach the age of 14 or even 13 sometimes, or a little bit later, and you start, using your money to do things, your family's money, of course, or just having some pull and definitely acting as an adult and being regarded as an adult. And for women, of course, the situation was different in regards to spending money. In not every situation, of course, not every country, but in vast majority and throughout most of history. But that they would also, be married off to from healthy families to make alliances and all that. So, and of course, men would marry later on, but also from the age of 14. So, teenager doesn't. There's no boredom there. It certainly wouldn't be bored. They're part of wealthy families. They wouldn't be bored. They would just be oppressing the peasants or something. Tell Dad I'm gonna go out smashing the peasants or something. So, what kind of members does the society have? All sorts of adventurers, Honoriel says. We have representatives from all races, religions, and beliefs. The Grand Lodge is in Absalom, but there are many smaller lodges throughout Golarion, and the venture captains direct pathfinders to their goals from across all the corners of the world. There are many renowned heroes in the society, and many scoundrels as well, whose service to the society has brought them fame. And who does the society support? You mean, who does it serve? No one in particular, which I had guessed already, but still. Pathfinders try not to get involved in the quarrels of others. They serve only the spirit of adventure, and sometimes they happen to save the world. However, that doesn't mean there are no black sheep among the Seekers. This feels very gamey, and I don't know if it exists in the... I'm pretty sure it must exist in the pen and paper version of the game, because it's called Pathfinder Society. But it is here to serve... It's here to serve a gameplay aspect rather than anything else. So it's just very weird that it would exist something like that. They have to just jump through so many hoops to justify its existence in the world. Hey, Harrium. I didn't talk to you yet. Hey, what? Oh, is that you, Gilladel? Yes, did I startle you? I'm sorry. Ah, no, that doesn't matter. I'm just contemplating the futility of existence and the worthlessness of the universe. He's boring. Can I point it out? He's boring. He's really boring. Not only on a factual... I was just thinking on a factual sort of character level, sort of just as a person. But then I said, when you heard me say he's really boring, that's when I realized. Then also from a meta perspective, he's boring because he always says the same things. It's just anyway. Let's give him a shot. See what he has to say here. Because meeting these characters is a fun thing. At least for Linzi, I found her to be. I met her twice already. Or 3 times, rather. This is the 3rd time. So I read all that 3 times already. Because of the time I played on the alpha version of the game. Harrium I didn't, though. So let's see if he's a fun, nuanced fellow that just comes across as to use the anachronistic and actually well-used word this time around, a nihilistic teenager. And that's doubly the anachronistic, because of course nihilism wasn't really a philosophical thing throughout history. And of course, when I say this, I don't mean to say that it doesn't have a place in this world. If you want anachronistic fantasy worlds, I'm a fan of, for example, the world of The Witcher. I don't know the name of the world of The Witcher, but it is a very anachronistic world, and it's very fun. It's very anachronistic in the sense, you know, it's not based on history, but those are that world in particular, unlike the world of Pathfinder and certainly the world of Dungeons and Dragons, wears its anachronism, or it's just sort of mixed, sort of modern perspective of fiction on its sleeve. And this world, yeah, I just feel that I'm not necessarily wrong in commenting that teenagers weren't a thing. And they wouldn't be, because the thing is, they wouldn't be a thing in this world. Because of they weren't a thing for reasons that still exist in this world, the reasons do. Anyway, let's see what he has to say. It's just with that preface, let's see what this guy is. The way of growths are great, he says. My humble moral mind cannot fully grasp them, but I do what I can. He smiles apologetically. So tell me of your past. My life is divided into two parts. The first was filled with blind wandering, doubts, and attempts to serve Torag. The second part began when I accepted Grotus into my soul, and received a clear vision of the world. What exactly would you like to know? Where are you from? My life story began in Larad, a city of dwarven clerics and acolytes. They serve Torag and the other dwarven gods. Father of creation. Okay, Torag is the big one. Torag's brothers, Andrag and Maegrim. Torag's wife, Folgrit. His daughter, Bolka. His sons, Grumdinar, Coles, and Trude. And also Torag's sister, Drangvit. He curves his lips in contempt. I wouldn't be surprised if they built a temple to Torag's pet dog. Yeah. Sorry, I let myself get carried away. He sighs and pulls his beard several times. Larad is the second largest dwarven city in the Five Kings Mountains. It's built up around numerous temple caverns which serve as places of worship for all the dwarven gods. Many pilgrims from every corner of Golarion come to Larad to pray to their gods. Some remain to live there. This city is simply imbued with faith. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a cleric. It's no surprise, inspired by the aura of this city, that I decided as a young boy to dedicate all my efforts to becoming a cleric of Torag. So you once tried to serve Torag, as you were saying. Well, not just tried. It was a burning passion. I craved it by day and dreamt of it at night. He shakes his head as if amused by his own stupidity. You see, Giladel, from my first days I felt the presence of the god at my back. I heard his whispers and felt his power, though the nature of this power was unclear to me. I thought Torag himself was trying to speak to me, and I did all I could to understand his words. Oh, what a naive fool I was. I had no idea that Torag, that uncompromising, conceited god, glamorized by all dwarves, was capable of betrayal. He turned away from me, Giladel. He left me in the hour when I put all my hopes in him and desperately needed his support. Torag is the god of craftsmanship, you see, so every follower, especially the clerics, must smith their own suit of armor. The day when this work is finished is like the second birthday for a dwarf. He is newly born in the eyes of Torag. My second birthday never came. I couldn't make armor. Not even a sword. Not even a simple nail. My hammer smashed my fingers and fell on my feet. Molten iron burned my hands. The clerics laughed as they healed me. They used to say I was cursed by Torag, so I finally gave up any attempt to please the betrayer god. Well, even if Torag really has rejected you, is that enough reason to leave your homeland? Well, I'm being very confrontational here. I would just prefer to ask, and that's when you left your homeland. You don't know much about dwarves. He lets out a sad sigh. How can a dwarf cursed by Torag go on living in a city where every single soul bows to Torag? I was alone, disgraced, humiliated, insulted. A lone tear glints in the light before sliding down Harrium's cheek and hiding in his beard. I was trying to drown my sorrows in drink, but even the owner of the cheapest pub on the road would laugh at me while he put those mugs in front of me. I couldn't take it any longer. I wanted everything to end. Okay, so you wouldn't be crying about that. For one, because it doesn't fit your current character. For two, because you were smiling before at your own stupidity. So this would be the same. So I think your character is written weirdly. which is what I said at the beginning. Let's see. But there was one thing that kept me going and prevented me from ending my life. I could still hear that divine whisper behind my back. It was yet faint. It took a long time before I could hear it clearly, but having heard it once, I could never forget it. It was clear that none of Larad's deities favored me, so I left the Five Kings Mountains and went out searching. So okay, so you left because you were still being haunted by your god, I guess. So yeah, makes sense. There was one thing that kept me going. Wait a minute, what? So, let me get this straight. You wanted to kill yourself. And you couldn't kill yourself because the god Torag was still talking to you. So what you did is you left so he would stop talking to you. But you say you went out searching. I didn't think dwarves ever worshipped Grotus. How did you learn about him? Oh, but that blessed day became the beginning of the new life. Excuse the hiccup. Alone and abandoned by all, I spent many dull hours in a filthy tavern by the roadside. I don't recall the town, nor even the country. I had no money, and in fact, all I had was a hunk of stale bread. In many dull hours in a filthy tavern. Well, yeah. That's why you wouldn't just stay there for hours, because the bread is stale. I was weary and almost fainting from hunger, even though I wouldn't eat the bread, apparently. And that was the moment when the whisper from my god became more clear. It was like he was calling to me. At last my suffering had come to an end. It was a miracle, Gilladel, and I had paid full price for it with my torments. I couldn't control... What torments? What torments? Just not being capable of making... Well, I guess it was everything for him, so I guess, yeah. Yeah, not being able to make armor and swords and whatever. I couldn't control myself. I walked out of the tavern and straight into the nearest forest, and there I found the ruined temple of Aroden, the lost god. Several figures clad in robes were holding a silent service there, a service to a god I knew nothing of. None minded when I stood beside them. For the first time in my life, I felt myself at home. My new brothers told me that they were clerics of Groatus, and not Aroden. What the heck is that? Isn't that the same... The god of end times. Yes, I figured. Aroden was the immortal Aslanti who raised the Starstone from the bottom of the Inner Sea in the first year, and in so doing founded the city of Absalom and ascending to godhood. Oh, they're doing something else in the temple. Okay, yeah, I see. They're praising... It's the ruined temple of Aroden, but it's still praised to Groatus. They were traveling around Golarion, spreading the teachings of Groatus, despite all the persecution, contempt, and misjudgment they received from others. I gladly shared this burden with them, for now I knew whose voice had whispered to me through all those years. Oh, okay. Well, that explains... Okay, you could have started with that. That explains why he couldn't kill himself, because Groatus was trying to call on him. But also that explains why the went out searching was there. So you couldn't make even a single nail, and you blame Torag. Are you suggesting that my problem was not a curse, just my own inability to work with metal? Or maybe you're saying that I was just too lazy? Harrium looks into your eyes defiantly, his hands trembling with suppressed rage as he runs his fingers over his beard. I'm not saying any of those things. I really am not. I'm saying that... I'm not saying anything either. It's a question mark. And I'm not going to say any of those things because I don't know context. You're a fool if you think so. An ignorant fool. Have you ever met a dwarf who can't handle a smith's hammer? Even our children craft knives. No. Torag is the cause of my sufferings. The betrayer god deliberately cursed me just to make a laughing stock of me. Okay. I suppose that was a leading question, though. He raises his hand and shakes his fist at someone above. But I won't let myself get angry at you, Gilladel. You're an ignorant and blind soul, and my aim is to guide you through this dying world that marches towards its end. It'll open your eyes and I will open your eyes or die trying. Groatus will be pleased by either outcome. So, tell me about the dwarves. Apparently I don't know much about them. Most dwarves are self-satisfied, stubborn fools serving Torag. They don't deserve my good attitude. But you can ask what you want to know. I'll try to answer. Okay, tell me about the Five Kings Mountains. It's double plurals over there. It's sort of weird. The Dwarven Kingdom, yes. Well, it's to the south from here. It's survived many trials, and there will be more yet to come. There is no unity among the dwarves, Gilladel. The 5 kings rule over our people. They sit on the thrones of the 5 greatest cities, and with every passing day it grows harder for them to come to any agreement. The only thing uniting the 5 kings' mountains is the city citadel of Highhelm, the great dwarven fortress at the mountain's heart. Mountains as a heart. Have the dwarves always lived in the surface? Oh no! Eons ago, all dwarves lived deep beneath the surface, and they did rather well, judging by the historic records. That's what it means. Yeah. If you don't, yeah. Fun fact: history, or the fact that you have history, is absolutely dependent on records. If you don't have records, it's prehistory or proto-history. If you have records from other people, like for example, I don't know, the barbarians, they weren't barbarians. I don't know the names of the tribes, but the Romans called them barbarians, that came from the northern parts of Europe, that Romans wrote about, for example. That's called proto-history. Not history, because they were written by other people. Anyway, they built fortresses befitting noble dwarves, but our restless god, Torag, sent us a prophecy, the quest for the sky. An ancient dwarven migration to the surface of Golarion. Interesting. He ordered all the dwarves to abandon their fortress and press upwards to show their beards to the sun, as they say. This journey was long and bloody. Many dwarves perished on the way. Others turned back, keeping to their ancient strongholds, eventually to turn into evil Duergar, grey dwarves. Much like in Dungeons and Dragons. But those who survived reached the surface to founded the Sky Citadels. Actually, the Duergar are underground dwarves, so it's the opposite, but it's still, I think it's the same name. The most glorious cities in dwarven history, the Sky Citadels. So tell me about them. Oh, they are the peaks of creation. Glorious cities built by the ancient dwarves who would finally reach the surface after many hardships, performing the final labor in their quest for the sky and the surface of Golarion. They are steadfast, tall, magnificent. They are beautiful. He likes doing this, this sort of enumeration without the end at the end. But I like it that it's quest for the sky, but you're not actually trying to reach the sky. You're trying to see the sky. It's really cool. I like the name. The 10 citadels were built by dwarves, but we've managed to keep only a few. The citadels crumbled, and the orcs, sworn enemies of our people, trampled their blessed streets and ruined the gorgeous palaces of the ancient kings. And there he goes, crying again. These are heavy losses, and a disgrace to our people, Gilladel. Highhelm is the jewel of the citadels that remain. It is located in the heart of the mountains, and the heart of every dwarf. Yes, my heart too. This is a dwarven saying that if an enemy... Or there's a dwarven saying that if an enemy reaches Highhelm, every dwarf from all the corners of the world will come to defend it. I'd be there too, but not to help the citadel's defenders. I'd be there to witness the fall of our people with my own eyes, and mourn it. I would fall upon the cold stone and raise my final prayer to Grotos. Yes, that would be what you would do, not defending it. Boy, I by the way, if you're wondering, I don't think it's boring. It's not written boringly. I think it's boring elsewhere, but not here. I like all this backstory. I'd like to talk about your god Grotos. You wish to learn about Grotos? Yes, of course. I will answer anything you ask. So, what are Grotos' teachings about? I mean, in a nutshell. Grotos is the end of all that exists. Look around, Gilladel. What do you see? Look again and realize that everything will be destroyed. Our clothing and our armor will turn to dust. The walls of the palaces will crumble into ruins. The trees will fall. And you and I will die much sooner than that. Oh, Arim, you need to talk to Linzi, because she would say, no, but we are not really we. We are the stories that we make, and those stories will not die. And then he would say, oh yes they will, because everybody will. And then, yeah. And then they would just butt heads for a while. And, yeah. Because he's right. It's sort of inevitable. Grotos is a timeless watcher. But he's also cheating because he's got a god that doesn't die. So the inevitability of everything just doesn't apply. Just happens to not apply to Grotos. He's locked He's been locked away. No, he's been locked away by Pharasma, the goddess of rebirth. From her boneyard, he watches over the world, knowing the time for the final reaping shall come. He's the bloated moon hanging in the sky. He's the harbinger of the last days. He's the one who will stay when all the others are gone. And people tell me in the comments that Grotus, I think people tell me in the comments that Grotus is similar to a god in Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know that god, but he reminds me, even in name, to a god that exists in Warhammer 40k, which is the god of entropy and disease and decay. And I don't remember the name. It's like Gorn, but it's not Gorn. It's something like that, and it's just a nasty thing. And so if you are interested in Warhammer 40k, look it up. It's the god of decay, and it's like a big bile of pus and just nasty and gross. There's a race. There's a specific race and a part of a specific race that really likes him. But the Grotus really reminds me of that, and it seems, and maybe they're all sort of inspired in the same thing, but yeah. Anyway, Pharasma has Grotus locked in her boneyard. She's stronger than Grotus? Of course she's stronger. For now. Grotus is weaker than Pharasma and many other gods. I would be a fool if I tried to claim otherwise. If Grotus were stronger, the end times would already have come, wouldn't they? But the powers of the other gods fade away. They dissolve slowly, a grain in a century. Grotus collects those grains and waits. He doesn't need to hurry. He knows that his time shall come. Yeah, it's basically the same thing as that god. I don't remember, though. It's like, it's a really gross name, because it's a gross god in Warhammer 40k, I mean. This one is just, it's a god. So, yeah. Usually clerics can speak with their gods. What does Grotus say to you? What is his will? Grotus doesn't speak to his clerics. Even though he talked to you. Huh. Actually, Grotus doesn't need any clerics. He only allows his whispers to be heard, and only by those who are dying to hear them. His words are unclear, but they call to you. His voice comes with the soft rustle of fallen leaves, with a woeful wailing wind at the mountain pass, with the roars of the raging blizzard. It calls you to strike out on the road, onwards, always onwards, over the pass, over the bridge, and further along, up ahead where the edge of a grey robe flashed and a candle sputtered for the last time before dying. Onwards, always onwards, until your feet can no longer carry you. Well, thanks for telling me about Grotus. Let's talk about, let me ask you, what do you think about Grotus? Can I insult you really hard, just now? Can I? I like your tales. There's an inner truth to them. No, there's an outer truth to them. There's the obvious truth to them, the fact that everything dies. The inner truth is the, understanding. And no, I wouldn't go with that. It wasn't interesting to learn about No More No Less. Can you be less obvious in what alignments these are? To be honest, I don't want to have anything to do with him. Yeah, Gilladel is a woman of action, so yeah, let's go with that. He sighs. Your denial means nothing, Gilladel. The end will come either way, but there is still time to talk further about it. After all, that's why I travel in your company. Yes, but there's no time in this episode, so maybe there isn't any time. We'll talk later. Next episode, maybe. I'll be happy to continue our conversation later, he says. Yes, we will. But for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Pathfinder Kingmaker. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.